Everybody listen to We're Not Wizards, because we are the best, and we're not wizards, no matter what anybody says. Goodbye.
Welcome to another episode of We're Not Wizards. My name's Richard. I'll be your host for November. Some people, you know, they like things stable. They like things kind of non-interesting. They like things quite simple. And other people are the type of people that they just grasp life by both hands. They don't really care because they've got this motto that unless they go out and try something, you know, they're just never going to achieve their dreams.
Mm.
And I decided I looked through my previous guest list and I said, I want somebody who just like grasps life, who just doesn't care, who cares who rolls, who dares rolls.
Oh.
And so joining me from Who Dares Rolls, he's rather wonderful, he's rather magnificent. He's obviously considering another job change. We'll get into the reason why. It's Mr. Mike Barnes.
Thank you, Richard. Yes, one does love to grab life by the testicles and twist, don't they?
Especially if you make them squeal. It's always quite wonderful. Always quite wonderful.
Just a tweak.
Let's cover the job thing first of all, because
yeah, this is a thing that's happened. So every time I come in here, and I've worked for a different company, we've promoted it on the show wonderfully, I may say.
Yeah.
And then the company just ceases to exist usually afterwards.
I have an amazing. That's my special power. Because I was thinking, right, I could do like sponsor places things on the podcast, and I have been doing that, and you know that's been doing quite well. And if you do want to sponsor the show, kind of get in touch, hint, plug. But then I noticed I might actually start threatening people and saying, listen, if you don't pay me, then I will completely promote you, and what happens is you'll go bust in 6 months.
That's it. I can promote them and or start working for them for free, and that'll be it. That's the death knell. They're fucked completely at that point.
Just get Mike. I've got it. No, he's fantastic.
Exactly.
He's named Mike Barnes. Yeah, so basically it is true, we're not taking the piss, is that every time you've kind of been on, you've been speaking about, was it Dazed? And then you were speaking about the escape room thing.
Yeah.
And then you're just like, kind of like, and then it's like, and then I do my follow-up to see how people eventually went. And every time now it's like, kind of, you've been going to another job. So, where are you working at the moment?
I'm not in the industry at the moment, actually. I am working for a supermarché, essentially.
Yeah.
Back in the old retail trade, a bit of that, really. I haven't mentioned the name of it, because that's it. I'll be done.
You don't want to.
I don't want to. It's a supermarché. It's one of the high-class ones, you know. It's one of these, there's a berry in it, definitely. But yeah, it's a holdover job at the moment, really.
I need to kind of like cut that bit out, because you know what's going to happen. That's going to be in, and then they're going to find out that they've been kind of like mincing puppies and selling them for food, and the entire channel shut down. You're going to get an angry DM again.
For fuck's sake.
So that's the first reason that Mike is kind of famous. The second reason that Mike's famous is, as prolific as I am.
And you are.
Mike is one of the few guests where I forgot to make his show live.
Yes.
It sat in drafts. And then I was like, oh, why is he liking all my tweets and stuff like that? And I went, oh, no.
Well.
I was really felt really
shocking
bad
behaviour
about that at the time. It was fantastic. Do you know what it was? And as you know, in places like Podbean and stuff like that, I usually upload stuff and then I set a date for release. And and I hadn't.
Clearly.
Clearly it wasn't. And it gone down the queue to about 6th or 7th, and then it was like, oh my goodness, so that's good. So Christmas is coming up.
Oh, it is. Chris. Oh my God, it is. Yes.
And we've all got kids. You've got a wee.
I know. Well, this is what's cocked up proceedings recently, really, as a unfortunate turn of phrase. But I have become a father for the third time in my 40s, which is never a good idea.
How's sleep treating you? Is it a stranger, or is it still working?
It's getting there. The first year or so is a bit rough, as you would imagine, as you remember. I'm sure you can distinctly pass your mind back to that. But yeah, it has been. He's over a year now. So, but the first year was hard going. I'm harder than I remember it. But yeah, sleep.
I think people talk about kind of like, I've got baby brain today. And I think that's an actual thing.
Yeah.
I think that actually what happens is that your brain kind of puts chemicals there within your brain to stop you from remembering.
Oh.
So you forget about 4 hours sleep and everything like that. You forget about it.
Yeah, it just becomes a blissful memory of, that wasn't that bad. But no, when you're enduring it again, you're like, God, I've not slept for a week. This can't be good. I've been talking to a fir tree outside for 20 minutes. Clearly something's gone wrong here.
I drove up the wrong driveway and hit a tree I do not have.
Yes. So,
which is an old... Well, that's an old... That takes me back, and that takes probably you back as well. In terms of things getting ready, I mean, you said you've got 3 kids altogether. Is the board game thing, is that going to be something that's going to appear? Do you play kind of board games with the kids at all? Or are they not interested?
The tragedy, really, of the whole thing. They used to play a little bit because the other two. This is it. The other two are teenagers now, so I've got 2 teenage boys and now a 1-year-old, which is really brilliant. Just that point in my life where I was like, I can relax. I can have some spare cash, and I can spend extra time doing fun things I want to do. But no, let's not do that. Let's have another baby. That's much more interesting. Needless to say, that did force me into the situation of going down to the old doctors and having the old snipperoonie, which is a pleasurable experience if anyone hasn't done that yet. It's a joy to be beheld. I know
for lots of people, no.
It wasn't good. There was a moment that was a cold sweat moment, definitely.
It's just scissors.
It's awkward. You go in and you've got to get into the all together, and then there's a female nurse there, and you're basically sat in a tissue paper. Really, it's the rope they've given you. I mean, it might as well not be there. And you're kind of like, this is awkward. The room's a bit cold. You go in and you're like, the room's a bit cold. And the doctor performing said procedure was actually called Dr. Proctor. And for about 10 minutes, I was ripping the piss and having a bit of a chuckle until such a point in time I ended up on the table, and it's like dawned on me what a ridiculously stupid fucking thing that had been, because this man was about to be playing around in the apples and pears and all that. It was not good.
So you'd spent all that time kind of calling him, "Hey, right, Proctor Doctor."
I just was chatting stuff like that. He said, "I'm Dr. Proctor," and I just laughed. I was like, "That's brilliant."
It's not really Dr. Proctor, is it? I bet that's what you did. You just sat there and you didn't actually say anything derogatory. You just turned around and you went, "It's not really your name, is it?
It was good.
It's not really your name. Can I see your ID? Because that's not your name. Is it Dr. Proctor?" And then the dawning realisation as you get the injection.
Yeah.
And then you're like,
"Oh shit.
Oh dear.
Oh, you're going to perform this procedure, aren't you?"
Right. Okay.
It's not great. It was an experience. I mean, they numb you, but there was a point. They clamp parts. Like, you're not looking, but they explain what they're going to do. We're going to make an incision here. We're going to pull the tube out, and we're going to clamp it, and then we're going to, cut a section off, and we're going to do all this sort of stuff. And you're, "Oh, that's nice, doctor. That's lovely." And there was a period of the first point of entry where they're going, "Don't tense. Just don't tense. You need to be relaxed." And you're like, I'm laying on the table with my insignificant man parts on show to a female lady who's having to endure this as well. And you're telling me not to think. And I tensed, as you would imagine, as there's a man fumbling with your blooming bits and pieces. And he went, oh, and there was a tug sensation. And apparently I'd unclamped myself. And he was like, oh, you've done that. And I was like this. And I was, at this point, it was all was well in the world. And then, I don't know what he did to retrieve whatever he was retrieving, but it probably is the single most painful moment of my life. So I laid there, and I came over this cold sweat with almost like vomit rising. I'm like, I don't want to be sick. I don't want to pass out, but this is really fucking painful. And that went on for a little while. I don't know what he was doing, and it was, it wasn't good. And that was the first one. I was laying there. By that point in time, I was not in a good way. So that was fun. By the end of it, you just, everything's been on display for so long. The nurses in the next room just go, I just need to take your stitches. You're like, I don't care. Just look at it. I'll leave it lay. Fucking go for it. It's there. You don't even bother. Any vanity's gone out the window. It's just laying there like the last turkey in the Christmas shop. Bruised and battered.
I just, And so getting back to playing board games with your kids.
We digress somewhat.
Digress, we went in a different car. So are they at the point where they're not into, because I got 2 teenagers as well, and I got a 7-year-old, and we're kind of getting to the nice point where the youngest one, he knows enough so that we can play, we can play King Domino, and we can play Little Town, and we can play quite a few, Escape from Atlantis and stuff like that. But my middle son, he's young enough and just a teenager that he's still interested to kind of sit down and play all the games together. So we played Rhino Hero, Super Battle, or whatever it's called. I can never get them right. I can never ever get that
Super
right.
Rhino,
it's all
I don't know.
Rhino Super Rhino Hero. I would call it Super Rhino Hero Battle, but other people say it's Hero Rhino Super Battle.
Super
Battle.
Rhino Connexia, Rhino.
Super Battle Flagellistic Expialidocious. I have no idea, but anyway, it's in that kind of nice place where they're still quite happy to go ahead and play, and that's quite, that is a nice place to kind of be in.
Yes, mine were like that. They've kind of, I've got one's now, he's 17 now, and he did play quite a bit. He does borrow stuff and play with his mates now, which, I'm cool. Yeah. Which under strict instructions, of course. But the other one, the younger one, George he's just not interested. He's fully into video games, and just, it's a chore to him to have to do stuff like that. We used to play it quite regularly as a family thing, but it has really died off a bit, which is a shame because, I've got a bloody great room full of stuff and they don't really play it very often. But I'm hoping there's hope for son number 3. He might be my buddy. Got him a couple of little kiddie games there ready in advance. I'm just going to start sort of grooming him.
Just kind of tie little, you're going to get meeple rattles. And
just, a little bit. It's just that I'm like, this is it, this time. Got to get it right.
Just give him something that's durable.
I mean, the problem is, by the time he's the age to really enjoy complex games, I'll be in a bath chair somewhere dribbling. He'd be wheeling me out. I'll be there at the top of this. Thank you, Marjorie. It's lovely.
I wonder it's how you keep them interested, because to me it's not like board games are a funny thing in the fact that they're kind of getting to the point where they're kind of like movies, and even video games themselves, you can still be involved in that kind of thing, and it's almost like as soon as people reach a certain age they go, I remember I used to play board games all the time, and then I got to this age and it was rubbish, and then I had to come back when I was 25 years old, and then I discovered them again and they were all magical again. And I just think, it's worthwhile persevering with the 17-year-olds, just saying, look, you're going to be back here. I know you're going to be back here.
What will happen?
You know you're going to be back here. Why not just catch up on, with us kind of just now? what kind of games? I mean, what kind of games would you like to play? I mean, is there anything in your collection you're thinking, I'd just love to get this to the table with you because you'd absolutely love this?
I'll tell you the one really got me because I picked up Pandemic Legacy Season 1 because I played that with my group and loved it, and I thought, this is something that they're going to surely eat up because it's the whole twists and turns of the plot and stuff that happens later on. I'm like, this is you're destroying components, you put stickers on the board. It's kind of all that good stuff. And we only ever played one game of it so far, and it's kind of like, that's really gutting me because I'm like, stick with it because I think you can, about 3 months into the game or whatever, something's going to happen. You're going to really dig this. So that's one I'm still waiting, and I'm going to persevere with that. But yeah, I'm quite happy to play. I mean, the other problem is that the missus is not into complex games at all. She's not a gamer. So I have to pick stuff that's kind of not requiring, not massive complex games because she just tunes out. She will look at something shiny and get distracted. She just easily hasn't the attention span or interest for it. She will persevere and play. But I could tell when the point has gone too far. She's got that blank look.
I can see that. I can see that happening with a lot of people.
Oh yeah,
kind of like that. Kind of like it's not that. It's just I think different people have different ways of kind of finding it and seeking enjoyment. And for some people, it is just when it comes to a game, it is just a case of, I want to play something like Monopoly because I used to find that quite fun, and this is what I enjoy, and thanks very much for that. On the other side of it, I think there are some people, it's not a case that they don't get it, but they have a different way, a different level of enjoyment, and for some people there's a passiveness. Yeah,
she loves stuff like, what's the gun one? Oh god, I've completely forgotten his name. What were the guns, the foam guns? Why have I forgotten that? That one.
Is that a bang?
Oh yeah, bang, not bang. You point the actual gun at each other. Board game review, I should know this. Anyway, stuff like that. Anyway, those sort of dexterity-based things like Super Rhino or anything like that, or something which is, or telestrations. Telestrations is a huge favourite.
Yes,
and that's with the family generally. Telestrations is always fun. But stuff like that, rather than something a bit more like a board game. That sort of stuff. She's like, no, I'm not interested in it. Which is fair enough.
Yeah, I know some of my friends who have got like partners who are totally as much into board games as they are. And so every night it's like, every night is kind of like game night, and you're just like, you're quite lucky. But also, at the same time, I like the board game side of things because it gives me an excuse to go and hang about with my friends.
Yes.
And it allows you to have the conversations that you maybe can't have with your partner, that you maybe just want to, you're just having a general kind of social chat. You're all having a rant about the state of the world, or, how socks just aren't as good as they used to be, or, have you still got that original iron brew I can borrow kind of thing, and there's all that kind of thing.
Exactly.
So there's that kind of thing. With the kids, my son, my middle one, he's actively getting into like Warhammer in a big way.
Yeah, I went for a stage
and the D&D stuff, so he's almost at a case that he'll play a board game with me because he likes doing it. But secondly, he's really good at helping with reviews.
Cool.
And I'll tell you why. Because he's brutally honest.
Well, yeah, that's a thing that doesn't happen very often.
No, but anyway, I was saying one of the reasons that I kind of like, I feel if I'm playing with my friends at the club, some of them will be kind of honest and say kind of, but I feel there's always the same kind of level of politeness kind of thing, as in, what did you think of it? Well, it was okay. Would you want to play it again? Well, I don't know, if it was the only thing that was available. Whereas my son, if I'm playing a game with him, he'll just go, this is unbalanced, this is rubbish, I really don't like it. He was when we played Guardian's Call a couple of times, and it was him that was said, he kind of turned around and he picked up various figures and he went, what are these actually for? kind of thing. And, you know, so I kind of like said, well, if he's thinking that, so he's a pretty good person to review, because I think there's an awful lot of kind of like, there's still the kind of the politeness to want to play the game, and I would rather be kind of like the honest kind of thing. Are you getting the time to do reviews yourself? Kind of then?
Video is a bit easier in regards to when I write something, I tend to spend a long time on it. I'll write it, put it in the drawer, bring it back out, write it again before I'm happy to publish a review. Whereas if I do video stuff, I can kind of just spew sometimes I'll script stuff in advance, but I can just kind of produce stuff quite quickly. The filming is fairly quick. It's the editing's a bit the pain in the ass.
I always find that your the video stuff that you've done has always been, you're very good at it in a natural kind of way. You kind of, I know people that kind of do a lot of editing and they do retakes and stuff like that. And when I'm doing a video, I'll maybe, first of all, I try not to put my face in it because I don't want to scare off, you know, scare the small animals away. But secondly, I'll find I've started kind of cutting videos in terms of I'll do something and then I'll cut it and then stop and then do the next thing. So if I need to repeat scenes, it's probably something that people do all the time, but I'm like going, this is magic. It doesn't mean I have to do it all in kind of one take. But I get the impression, the stuff that's always impressed me about your stuff is you're kind of, it's not that you're not rambling or anything like that. It's very well kind of constructed.
There is some rambling.
I'll tell you what, was being kind.
I mean, there is some of the stuff. So what I tend to do, there's two types of what I'm doing. Sometimes if I've really got the time, I'll script something. But I always find if I've got a scripted video, it doesn't come off as, in my opinion, especially when I'm editing, I'm like, oh, right, it's easier to edit when it's scripted. But it doesn't quite feel as like it's your opinion. You know what I mean? It's like an artificial version of my opinion because I'm kind of I'm following a script. So what I tend to do when I'm filming is, and I've got better at it, but I will sometimes I'll just shoot a lot of footage. I'll run through it maybe 3 or 4 times, and then go and pick out of that where there is some sense, and judiciously use some cutting and maybe insert some shots to hide when there's cuts between the different sequences I filmed. So it looks like one long shot, but it's not always one long shot.
What do you use to film? Because I was asking this question kind of like, I asked on a Facebook group, and all I got back was iPhone, and I was like, well, that's brilliant, but I've not got a fucking iPhone, so that's no use, is it?
Yeah, I had an iPhone I use a Canon at the moment. I've got a Canon EOS, I think it is. I picked up off eBay for about £100.
See, I was thinking, because I was in two minds, because I saw there seems to be a big industry on Amazon at the moment for video recorders, which are purely digital recorders, which are purely seem to be, this is for vloggers and stuff like that, and they're about 60-70 quid, and I don't know where to start. I don't know, because I went to obviously the certain electrical stores, and the choice that they had was near to nothing, and secondly it was either like 150 quid or it was like £52,000 for something that's like the size of a small egg that you can just wear on your face. However, it does everything that you kind of need. But other people are saying that the lighting is really important, and you need. I was
going to say that. Yeah, decent lighting is important. I think that's one of the banes of even anyone's life. If you get decent lighting, it will make up for a crappy camera to a certain extent. That is definitely the key to it. You need your key lights, you need your overhead lights. I did a little bit of research on that, and there's a guy in a local group pointed me in the direction of some stuff. So you don't need a massive amount of expensive amount of kit. If you've got let's say the camera's not, it's like, looks like a stills camera, but it will record video. My only thing, I would like to have like more than one cameras to have different shots. What I hate is having to do, because I do most of it on my own, is you have to have a locked down tripod shot. So you're never really, you've got one frame, you've got one shot, and that's it. And the problem is, if you're starting to do, I've done it a few times, use the phone to shoot from a different angle while I'm doing it, so I can cut between the two, because I don't like the static shot. that's the problem with most board game media. It's just that locked off static shot of bloke standing in front of board games talking.
Yeah. But I've done moving camera shots, and I've done kind of some moving camera shots and stuff like that when I've been doing unboxings and stuff like that. And it seems okay to you at the time, but when you stick it on YouTube and it's like janky, and it looks like you're kind of like Blair Witch Project kind of nonsense going on. It's like, I don't know if people would be interested in kind of watching it. It's kind of interesting. I'd like to do more video. And I filmed something last night which I thought was absolutely hilarious, but then and then I looked at myself in the film and I went, oh my goodness. And then I went out for like a 2.5 mile speed walk because I was so horrifically disgusted with myself, and I went, I can't put this out. I'm probably going to put it out anyway. It's, I don't know, the reason I wanted to get a camera is I want to do different stuff. I want to do some mucking about stuff. I'm a really, really huge fan of the old Buster Keaton, Harold Lloyd, black and white physical comedy stuff, and I reckon there's a lot of stuff that could be done.
Yes, I do. There's a lot of stuff I'd like. I want puppets. That's my ultimate goal. I want some puppets on the show. And that's the thing that I want to do. Because there isn't puppets in media, and I think I want to bring the Muppet type thing back. I want almost it to be like a children's entertainment thing, but it's not. You get my meaning?
Oh yeah, totally.
But it's it's the time at the moment. B, it's to a certain extent the money, because it's making puppets and stuff. I've kind of looked into it. And also I couldn't do it on my own. So I'm going to, fortunately, the eldest son is in a media course.
Oh, right, okay.
So I'm hoping at some point I can cajole him, because he's done some stuff a long time ago, went on the podcast a few times and some other stuff. So I'm kind of hoping I can cajole him back and I can get to the point where I've actually got a format on what I want to do. And do this thing just for my own entertainment. It doesn't care if anyone else looks at it and goes, what the earth is this? But, it's a hard thing. There's so many people doing so much different stuff out there. I mean, Shut Up and Sit Down are very good. Their videos are
yes, they are
bloody brilliant.
But they come from a video game background. I mean,
yeah, they come from a video game background. So, and I approached when I first did the blog site I'd come from video game background and video journalism. So I'd kind of initially was channeling that Zap 64 feel and stuff was what I wanted to do. But yeah, so they've got that kind of wrapped up in that style of stuff, which is a shame because it's something I would have liked to have done by at the time.
I don't know. I mean, have they? I mean, in all honesty, there's always room for something else. I think that...
Yeah, exactly. So, but you get some people... There's people trying desperately. We're going through the stage where there's a lot of people trying to do the humour thing. And I've had the humour thing of mine, but mine's mine just to amuse myself rather than anyone else. So it's never been about I'm entertaining you. It's more I'm entertaining myself. But yeah, I'm with you.
Yeah, that's it. It's like, it's like, how many podcasts do you listen to a week? Probably about 15 or 20. How many of those are yours? Probably about
more 15, of them.
And then always justified it. It's like, are you listening to yourself again? Yes, I am. It's the only way I can improve. Kind of thing.
But yeah, it's just, I've not quite come on a format yet. I've still been playing around with stuff. But, it is what it is. I'm slowly getting people. I've got over 200 subscribers now, which is like, which is not bad growth, because I've only been really properly concentrating on it again in the last probably 5 to 6 months. So, but we'll see. I don't know. I mean, I'm not trying to be the next big thing. I'm aware that there's so much stuff out there now. When I first started the site, which is like probably 6 or 7 years ago now, had I had the time, the effort, the equipment, I probably could have been in a much better place, but I just had to deal with what I had.
Look, I think everybody's in the same kind of in the same boat. I think everybody is always in the same boat, and I think one of the things that Shut Up and Sit Down and managed to do was they managed to kind of get themselves the time so that making videos became their job. So it's not like you and me where I'm kind of like, it's like just before I'm speaking to you, I'm kind of like, I'm taking some photographs because I want to take some photographs to put on Instagram of a couple of things, today I've been sitting in a meeting with people talking about Amazon all day, rather than me kind of setting up props and lighting and running through a script and getting kind of cross shots and editing stuff and everything like that. And it makes me wonder, I don't know, it makes me wonder if I was doing it full time, would you end up inventing extra stuff to do, or would you just do the stuff that you have just now to the highest kind of quality possible? Or, I don't know.
I don't know. I mean, like you, I spent the day looking after the nipper today. Actually, I had a day off, but I was with him all day, so put him to bed, then kind of come on to here. I think in my time, I'd tweak more, and I'd maybe do stuff that I want to be doing, and maybe getting just more time, more headspace to go, right, actually, what do I want to do this? Or do I want to script this? Or do I want to, doing all that and taking those extra shots? Because it's all that effort involved in, if you're going to take two different shots from different angles, you've got to move the lighting, you've got to move the camera, you've got to do. It's a lot of bloody effort. And then you've got to edit all together. Editing takes me longer than filming. I could take bloody forever on editing. But I do like to try and edit stuff better and maybe, add stuff into them that just try and polish it a bit. I mean, there's some guys, out there and producers, they film something on the phone and they stick it straight out, which is fine. But I've always tried to at least attempt some form of quality control. I'd say this with tongue wedged in cheek. But
I think I'm starting to. I think at the beginning it was just a case of I didn't really care enough about the video content. I think in the last year I've tried to at least kind of front end and back end and clip things and put kind of subtitles and stuff through it. But again, it's kind of like I'm using the basic of the basic software. So a lot of the stuff that I'm putting together is kind of like band-aided together. So
yeah, I did that for a while. I must admit, I use Premiere Pro now, which is
amazing.
Great to me. Yeah, it is a lovely bit of software. I used lots of free stuff before, and but there's quite a big learning curve and all that. But even now I'm still learning with Premiere Pro. But there's so much stuff you can plug in, and every month I find something else, either something free or I find something cheap that I can plug into it and give me different transitions, so I can do stuff. And so I'm constantly kind of teaching and learning more stuff at it. So as I'm learning, bits of the videos are changing. So yeah, it's fun. It's a hobby thing. It's something I do. I'm not looking to make my millions or retire of it. It'd be lovely to do. This isn't going to happen.
Yeah.
it's too many people out there now. There's too much noise. There's too much all that stuff out there. So you just find your niche and just do your thing.
I think if you're still there, you'll do okay. I think that's one of the things,
Yeah. It's whether, with the actual site gets quite a lot of hits on it, and the podcast has had hits on it because purely we've been around so long. So it's like, just keep going. Because you'll get people pop up and they're around for a while and they might last 6 months or 8 months. So many of them do it, pop up and want to be the next Tom Vassell, want to be the next Sharp and sit down, and they just expect instant results, and when it doesn't happen, they kind of just disappear off the radar again. Yeah,
I see that. I see people disappearing and people kind of come back again, but I've seen some people kind of disappear for good and just not come back at all. And I'm just wondering what the kind of the story is. And I see people kind of taking or considering kind of taking a break, which is completely fine. But I think once you take a break, it can be pretty difficult to kind of get back on.
Oh yeah, I mean, it was even for me because I had to kind of just pull back on what I was doing because of babies and stuff. I mean, the only thing I was fortunate with is that Charlie, who does my RPG stuff for me, was still writing articles, so I was able to at least drip feed something out over the the time I was basically not doing very much. He's been a bit of a lifesaver. So it's
Do you feel obliged to continually be putting out content then, no matter what it is?
I did for a while. You know what? Because the thing is, they always say, the more content you put out, putting out stuff means that you're constantly getting SEO, you're getting on there, you're getting, you're getting picked up by Google and all that. And I thought, it's true, it is. But I was putting a lot of pressure on myself, and I'm tired, I'm not sleeping, and I'm, working, full days. And I was I was to the point of trying to work myself to death, not sleeping, just to produce content, to keep stuff coming out. And there's a moment of clarity, you go, what the fuck am I doing?
Yeah.
It's like, there's no, what's the worry? The end result is, and I did think I've put a video saying, look, I'm trying to do stuff, stuff will be coming out, but it's just slowly we get back into it. It doesn't matter. It's not the end of the world. I mean, unless you're desperate to chase that. But I mean, if you get to the point where you could end up hating what you do, and then what's the point in that?
Yeah, so I think it depends where you place yourself. If you place yourself at the forefront and you're always kind of covering the latest and greatest stuff out there, I can see how it kind of becomes a kind of a, oh my god, I've got to do this, and I don't really want to do this, and this is crap, and I want to do this.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean? And there's that, I could be watching Paul Rand on, you know.
Well, yeah, that's the other thing. I mean, there's the draw of Netflix or something else as well, or DVDs of it. And so, and I just went, you know what, fuck it, I'm just going to do what I want. I mean, there was a Twitter discussion earlier on today, I think, from PollyAnnaTarpaulin Collander. Those things.
I call them their full name, which is Newman Ultra Microscopic Silicon Volcaniconiosis Collider.
That's it. And it rolls off your tongue.
Just right there.
And there was older Big Steve. Big Steve was on there bemoaning that he can't keep up with the releases, and I was just like, man, you can't. There's no point. There's no point trying to keep up with all the new releases. A, you're bankrupt yourself, and B, Dice Tower, this juggernaut that's all they do. So you've got no hope on earth of keeping up with the likes of those guys that are producing just that sheer spewing content from every orifice onto the internet. It's just there's no point trying to. So just do what you do, or do what you want to do. Do that.
Well, it has made me kind of go back and want to do, kind of review older stuff and older games and things like that.
Yeah, I've been thinking, I've done a little bit of that. I am thinking about doing some more of it.
I kind of enjoy it because there's less of the pressure. I mean, you did.
Yeah, because there was that, you're chasing that tail, aren't you? Chasing the new release. And you just, another point, how can you play that long and that much and that well to really have an informed opinion on it?
Do you know what? It's each to their own. And the people, and it's almost a case of, it's kind of weird because it comes into kind of like, I guess what they would call kind of ethics and stuff like that, is how many times does somebody have to play a game to be able to write about a game? And then it's like, it depends, because you could be playing a game with the wrong rule for like months until somebody comes along and tells us a completely different interpretation. And on the other side of it, I think some people, they gravitate towards certain reviewers because they find that they share the same tastes. And a lot of the time, this review is just a confirmation. I mean, we do written reviews. I'm not big enough to anybody to go, yeah, this is, definitely going to wait for your review before I decide whether to spend that money. It's like, it's alright, go and buy the sandwich. You'll be fine. But, I think there's some people that will say, well, I'm going to go and check out the stuff that, Luke Hector does.
Yep.
And he's
bless him.
You know what? And he gets on with it. There's certain people that just get on with it, yeah? And they're not involved in anything else.
He's like Rain Man, though, isn't he? That's the issue. I mean, he's a lock-in. He's a lock-in.
I will not have anything bad said about Luke Hector.
So me and him, we are. He's my.
He's your nemesis.
Nemesis. He's my nemesis because he lives in Portsmouth. I live in Southampton. And there's this age-old dispute between the two cities. I think a farmer once ran over a sheep 25 years ago or something. I just instilled this level of this nemesis against him. And I do like to play out when I'm in a public area with him, because he gets nervous, panics, because he's all very much Luke's straight and thing. And my outward persona, especially around him, tends to be Jack Nicholson coked up on about 16 gallons of Jack Daniels.
I just like Luke. I've always, do you know what? It's like he just gets on with it. It's like his videos that he's producing. Do you know what annoys me at the moment? Is that he's putting out some really, really good content. Yeah, and it's like, it's the Broken Meeple. If you haven't checked, check out Who Dares Rules, obviously, but go and check out the Broken Meeple, because he works like a juggernaut. He's always doing. He's like, constantly. Here's my top 10s of this. Here's top 10s of games with lids that go when you shut them, and you're just like, what? But he does that, but he's got to a level now where he's got like the graphical presentation on his videos are like, they're really quite cool. Because I was like going, I'll check out some. I was checking out some of his stuff, and he's like, I've done a rebrand, and it's like, okay, well, let's just check this out. And I was like, wow, he seems to be getting the views, but he's kind of like the little engine that could. And he's not, because he's an engine. He's quite he's quite a big guy, but I like him. I'll not hear anything bad said about him. It's the same way if he was on the show, I wouldn't hear anything bad about anyone.
He's like the Cliff Richard of ball games, isn't he?
Just so nasty. What, are you like the Ozzy Osbourne? Ozzy Osbourne's dad, maybe.
I'm like,
we're fighting in a Monopoly. And of course, we were all very, very drunk.
There he is, his mistletoe and whining it.
Hello. I know.
No, I can't do his West Country accent, but the farmer down.
He cannot come on this show.
You're broken.
You're not allowed to talk about the Pippy Poppy, Mippy Moppy, Palopalop boys. You know. I always wanted to ask Steve Tudor if he got a chance to rename his show, would he call it something different? And he probably wouldn't, because they're another group of people who just go on there and then just continually dropping out content. I mean, there's these folk that are just like, do you know what? I'm just going to do what we're doing, and we're just going to plop it out and just going to get it out there. And there's stuff that they do is very, very good. But I think I saw some of the Twitter conversation, which is him saying that, here's a review of a game that we we thought was okay. And it was, the Alley Cat Games one.
Alley Cat's, Tanguru?
Yeah.
I think it is.
Yeah.
I mean, I've played, and it has been discussed. And, I've not played a lot of Alley Cat stuff, if I'm honest. I played Dice Hospital recently, and I really enjoyed that. But that's Mike Nudd, really good design. And I played, Caesar showed me their Tinderbox, is it? It's like a little reverse Jenga game they're producing soon. It's tiny little blocks with tweezers you build towers with. It's very cool. But I played this at UK Gaming Live, and it was just. I did feel bad, but it is. But I don't know. What can you say?
Some things will work and some things will hit. I'm going to wait until whatever.
Yeah, it's a perfectly nice game that does nothing, in my opinion, that 100 other games hasn't already done before. And the theme didn't grab me. Whatever. Clearly, he didn't pay Steve for a preview, so. Fortunately, he paid Rado. He's got a very nice preview from Rado.
Yeah, I was talking about this. Yeah. But Rado doesn't give his opinion anyway. He goes he doesn't. So it's just this is what you play. But that's, again, I've talked about this before, and people will see how Rado plays a game to get an idea if they think the game will be working for them. And he's funded anyway, and I'm sure the production values are going to be through the roof.
It'd be nice. His stuff is always really good, and there's the people that like that will like it. Whether, I'm sure he's probably not going to obviously publish Steve's review on the site or whatever, but...
it wasn't that bad, though.
No, Steve was being as politely nice as possible about it. I mean, I'd spoke to Steve about it because he'd mentioned it, and I'd kind of said, I've played it, it just didn't do anything for me. I just kind of found it was a bit just there. It's not a terrible game by any means. It's just, it kind of slides into the background of just sits with everything else. Nothing on it. I played and went, whoa, that's amazing. Whereas I played actually Tinderblocks. Their new one that's coming out, and I was like, "Oh, that's amazing!" I really enjoyed that, and I tend to have that instant kind of, "Well, that's good. I like it." And if I enjoy something, then I'll go a bit Rado.
Yeah, but does this not start to come down to the thing of just because something's really, really popular doesn't necessarily mean it's very, very good?
No, it's true.
Kit, especially in Kickstarter, because. It's very, very easy to build up a positive impression of a game. And it's very, very easy, as I say though, the entire Kickstarter page is a huge advert to say, come and pledge lots of money, pledge just now, because if you do that, then you will get this specially embossed thing that is made out of ice, which is for the first people who back in the first 24 hours, and we'll send it to you, but it might just melt. But there you go. It's a Kickstarter exclusive.
I've got a bit burnt out on it. I mean, Cool Mini, I've kind of fell out of love with. But because I don't really like their business practices anymore. They're kind of they're douchebags when it comes to their customers. You give them the money, and they just don't want to know it about after sales service. You're then sat. The Blood Rage Digital is a prime example of that. I backed the Blood Rage Digital campaign because I play Blood Rage and I really enjoy Blood Rage as a game. It's a cracking game. And I missed out on the original Kickstarter, and I thought, you know what, I'm going to back it for the bling I missed the first time round because I'm a mug. That's just got to get that FOMO, you know. But yeah, they've literally we've been waiting. It's overrun. It's supposed to have been out 2 months ago, and everyone on the site, all the backers knew it wasn't coming, and then they finally dropped the thing going, yeah, so the app's been delayed indefinitely because it's really great, and we just want to polish it some more. And you go, okay.
Wow.
And all the other stuff you expected to come is coming eventually, but yeah, it's not ready. So sorry. Well, not even a sorry, just it's not happening. And you that's it. And then you're back into the void of like 6 to 8 months where they won't communicate with you.
I think.
And I just think.
My only issue with them lately was the way they did Bloodborne. Yeah,
Bloodborne. Well, that's also that. It's this add-on. Is when if you're going to back something now from them, you're looking at $400 to $500.
Yeah.
And it's just like, man, it's a paywall being put up. And some of the stuff's exclusive, so it's like they're playing on that fear of missing out thing, and it's like, it's a lot of money. And to be honest, I've got a bunch of cool mini stuff like Rising Sun and all that, but I backed. I've got the Kickstarter stuff. And Arcadia Quest. In actual fact, most of the Kickstarter stuff you get, well, some of it is lovely and you get caught up in the action of it all. Most of the time it's a pain in the ass because actually you're digging through multiple boxes to use all this stuff and it doesn't really do anything other than put some nicer bits of plastic on the table. So, but they are bringing out Ankh soon.
Yeah, I know. You see, and then they do it and then they turn it around and everything's kind of great. As I say, it was just Bloodborne that I kind of went way Nelly. Because it was just a case of we're going to carve out key parts of the actual video game. Yeah, and we're going to lock it behind kind of additional money that you have to pay. And I was kind of like, really? But that's up to them because they're making millions.
It is up to them. I mean, the key, True Fang Legends was another one. The one they did after Bloodborne, I think it was, which I was really interested in that because it was that outlying adventure legacy type sort of dungeon crawly game. But they just put the stretch goals too far in advance and killed the project dead. And you kind of sat there going, I'm not going to give you money now because they had to backpedal on it. But you kind of go, it just feels a little bit like they're being a bit greedy, which, they're a business. But I don't know. I don't think they've moved the times necessarily. I mean, having said that, Zombicide's doing very well or done very well. But there's like the Awakened Realms and these other guys coming on the scene, these young, fresh upstarts that are kind of giving you back a bit more value, it looks like. Not that I back their stuff, but it looks that way.
Yeah, well, I mean, you've got nappies and other things to pay for. I know, all like that. I mean, looking at a Kickstarter nowadays, it's got to really, really blow my socks off. And I am, I think, speaking of Peppy Poppy Lip Lop, John Cage went, have you just... Bing.
Northern monkeys.
That's I haven't met them. They're lovely. Again, they're lovely guys who just got on with it. I can't help it if you're a real bitter, twisted man that any name that I bring up, you've got to be like, they're bastards.
Did you not know they once killed a kitten?
Liquidized it from the tail up. But yeah, John Cage went, I see that you've obviously got lots and lots of money and you're backing all of the Kickstarters. Like, no, it's just like a back for £1. No reward.
Presumably, I see yours pop up. Yeah, I see it go. Boom, 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 boom. I'm like, for Christ's sakes. But yeah.
I just don't have the money, I'll be honest. Do you know what as well is that, and this is going to sound strange, is that if you're starting to kind of, earn kind of a little bit of money from the site through Patreon or sponsorship or whatever, and then, it's like, right, cheers guys, you've just paid for my top level tier of this kind of game. It kind of looks a bit disingenuous. It's like, if you're kind of getting money from the site, it should be going back into keeping everything nice,
I agree entirely. I mean, I get patrons and we've scrapped together. I think the last time I took a payout for Patreon, I actually updated the software that ran in the site on a web app, on a phone. So it looked nice, because I was always getting shit about, your site looks like shit on a phone. So eventually we reached enough money from the Patreons to be able to buy this piece of software that I could bolt onto the website, which meant that it looks semi-decent on a phone now. So, yeah, and I was like, I published it up. I said, we've bought this. This is what we've done with the money. Bang. Because, yeah, I agree entirely with what you're saying. I think if you're heaping all that money to go and blow it on I'm just going to get myself the new Call Me Kickstarter. Thank you very much. I can,
and I hate to, it's like, I'm not wanting to rain on their parade, because they're successful and they do what they do, and it's like you're dragging them through the mud. It's like, well, but at the end of the day, they're kind of responsible for a lot of things that have happened, good things that have happened on Kickstarter as well.
Oh, yeah.
And I feel like I'm a grumpy old man going, oh, Kill Me or not, and Kill Me or Mortal going, yeah, but if it wasn't for us, then you wouldn't be kind of having probably more Kickstarters to cover, because people have actually seen it as a successful thing. So it's kind of like a double-edged sword,
They've done very well, and they basically probably put Kickstarter on the map for board games. And I'm not going to knock them for that, and I think they've done very well. I think the problem is they've grown to a point as a business. They've not kind of moved with the times in how the community of Kickstarter works, and it's a vile community sometimes, to be fair, like any social media. So I can appreciate totally their standoffish nature for some of it, because there is some that sort of I want, why haven't I got it yet? I get all of that. So, I'm not fully knocking them. I mean, I've got a lot of the products, I've owned a lot of the products, and I do like some of the stuff they do. I just, sometimes I think they could just go a little bit further to maybe employing a few more people on the back end of there. just to say, oh, by the way, yes, all that money you've given us, yes, we are still getting stuff. We love you all. It doesn't take much. Just once a month or something. But there we go.
Would you, are you just going to continue it as a hobby? Because I'll tell you why, because the end process kind of came up with me and Ben Maddox talking, and if you haven't listened to that, you should go back and listen.
I haven't listened to it all. I started listening to it. I haven't listened to it all yet.
Well, it depends if you're if you're opposed or if you're for Brexit. That'll help you decide.
Well, I wasn't going to go there, but yeah. Yeah, I'm falling down on Ben's side on this one. I'll be honest.
So there you go. But we were talking about kind of like ending things as well, as in getting to a certain point where you go, is this an acceptable thing, or are we just going to say, right, that's it, and just kind of disappear? And I'm seeing a lot of people kind of reach that point of late, and I don't know if it's because there was a lot of us that kind of started at the same time, and we're kind of getting to it and just going, oh, do you know what? This is crap. It's like, I kind of want it to be a hobby, but I kind of also wanted it to be kind of more, and it's just not more kind of thing.
I mean, we all wanted, we'd all love to be doing this as a living. It would be lovely, wouldn't it, to get paid?
I don't know.
This. Well, maybe not. I don't know.
It's difficult, isn't it? It's difficult when you get to the point where you're kind of like, I mean, I spoke to Grant Howitt, and he is making a living out of this, because he's doing he does his RPG one sheets. He's a fantastic man. He's so funny. He's just generally funny.
Yeah, we've covered an awful lot of his games on the site, and I've been said to Charlie at one point we have to get him on and have an interview.
Oh, you have to. He's a lovely, lovely, lovely guy. We had a fantastic conversation. But he's the type of guy that, he says, oh, if I want, I've got to write this thing, and then I press a button and Patreon kind of gives us, $2,000, ka-ching, and I was just like, that's absolutely amazing. On the other side of it, I mean, today, the time we're recording, Actual Lol, who's one of the staples, is going, basically, guys, look, I'm trying to do this full time at the moment, and for all the views and everything that I get, and all the subscribers and everything that I get, I'm not making enough money to kind of make it worthwhile, and that breaks my heart to see somebody, it's really funny, because he's a guy that we move in the same circles, but we've never spoken. But I appreciate the talent that he has, and obviously the work, and he was obviously well known, very, very well known in the community. And for somebody to turn around and say, look, this isn't happening unless I kind of get some money, that's just kind of very, very sad as far as I'm concerned.
I mean, he gave everything up to do it.
Yeah.
It is his full-time job. And that is the thing, isn't it? I mean, if I should win the lottery, or I should get that, find myself financially buoyant, outside of what I do, then I would probably do it as a full-time thing. But I think taking that dive, you know, apart from that, my wife would stab me if I. By the way, I'm doing that this week. I've decided I'm not going to work anymore. I'm going to do this. And she'd be like, "That's nice, dear. How are you going to pay for the mortgage?" Oh, it'll be fine.
Don't worry about it.
That putting yourself in that pressure that if you don't hit your Patreon that month and you're basically not going to eat or you're not going to pay your mortgage that's not a good place to put yourself in. It's a scary situation I would have thought to be in. So yeah, I do feel for him. But I mean, I don't know. Half of me goes, well, maybe you're going to have to join the rest of us poor souls that work and try and do it. I don't know. It's a sad thing that we'd lose it because he does put effort into his videos. He does put, you know, they're more than just slapping the camera down and doing it. There is love and attention and effort into that. That is a thing. And I totally understand that if someone is going to make that effort and time and stuff, then why should you not pay for the privilege of having that?
But then I said tonight, we're in a situation though that people can get all the movies that they want. They can get all the music that they want.
Yeah.
They can get basically all the anime that they want. They can get, you know, and they're paying they're chucking $10 a month at various different subscription services, and they're basically getting unlimited amount of content. So I can see when people are going, okay, you are producing X amount of content. You're producing, 2 podcasts a month and, 5 videos. Why is that worth me giving you any more than, $1? Why should I even bother? Kind of thing. And to me, that's kind of ruined, that's kind of spoiled it and stuff like that. And also, I'm old, Mike. You're old.
Yes, I am.
If this was 20 years ago, I'd probably give it a good bloody shot and see where we kind of got.
Well, there's lots of other people, as we said as well. That's the problem. Is it's saturated with content flying out. So I mean, there's inside the box. I think they're the guys. They're amazing. The stuff they do. The American, they do really well scripted film and videos. Yeah. But I mean, again, they don't have the massive viewership they even really, and I don't see them talked about nearly as much as probably they deserve to be. But they don't have effort. When I look at their stuff, I'm like, that must have taken forever to produce, film, write, do, bang. You look at it, you think, wow, that's a real effort. But yeah, I mean, there's so many people producing stuff. It's the problem is there is that only finite pool of people, and as you say, so many people want it for nothing or for free, or they expect it for free. I contemplated kickstarting something just to get some funding for stuff, just to pay for bits and pieces, but it's like, I know you did it. You successfully.
I did it, but at the end of the day, there was still. It's kind of a knife edge for how much you're actually paying out compared to actually stuff you're getting back. And if anybody was saying, "Oh, would you Kickstarter to get money just for the sake of producing shows?" It's like, well, you'd have to set a fairly reasonable target to kind of make it worth your while, and also you need to budget in kind of like the. You budget in the kind of the what you were sending people as well.
Well, yeah, the carrot you will dangle to get
exactly,
people to pay
and
pennies,
that was so funny. That was the kind of the strange thing about it was like I did the gluten-free biscuit stuff, but I while I made sure that everybody got one that was meant to be getting one, also at the same time, funnily enough, it killed on the shipping. The shipping was a huge amount. The shipping must have been about the best part of probably over 10% of what we actually made. And then there was the kind of the fees on top of that. If you asked me to do it again, I would probably just say, guys, the reward is not necessarily going to be a tangible benefit.
No.
But then you got to wonder if it supports it, because I heard something like Pod Pledge has disappeared quite recently.
Because I saw them, they turned up and I had looked at it, but I never really did much with it. I was aware of it and that was it. Well, they bought the farm, have they?
Yeah, as far as I was aware, there was somebody that had posted on Facebook to see, they put up a cartoon to say Pod Pledge is shut down and now we're moving over to kind of Patreon. I think what happened was that they got a huge boost when Patreon did that thing where they were talking about charging people fees.
Yes,
they got a huge boost, and then I think they went, no, we're not going to do that. And I think their kind of Patreon's kind of what you can do on Patreon just seems to be kind of expanding, which, you know, once you've got that base there, it just makes it impossible for anybody else to catch up.
Yeah. I mean, I've got Patreon. We haven't got very many backers, but we've got a few. But they've got this video conferencing stuff they've added recently, which is something I want to play around with. And it's sort of, you know, it's a means, and they do all sorts of stuff. But I think, yeah, it's hard. It's hard out there. I don't think. I mean, if I run a Kickstarter, if anything, it would probably be more as a marketing tool to maybe try and get us a wider share. You know, if you're on there, there's a platform potentially you can get some interest with a low pledge total. And I think, yeah, as long as you're not going to try and give away stuff or whatever, then yeah, if you just try and do it more as a marketing tool to get the name out there, that might be the way to make use of Kickstarter.
Yeah, and then you've got to think about there's the whole thing that I was like, as the total went up, I was like, I deserve this as well, because I'm like, I'm not actually offering a game. You know,
well, yeah, but then, you know, people are just supporting you for what you do. So I think the problem is sometimes I'm the same. It's a very British thing. You feel very guilty for actually getting rewarded for doing something.
Yeah. I mean,
I'm guilty.
No,
for
I
this.
mean my friend Jeremy. He does a range of podcasts he does a supernatural podcast called Monster of the Week. And they're kind of right there in brash at the beginning, kind of, you know, and if you're one, I'm not going to do his accent because he'll kill me. Fair enough. Yeah, but they're basically straight out and says, oh, and this is due to our Patreon backers, and if you want to go and do your Patreon, then blah, 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 come and support us on. And I'm just like that. Yeah, it's a different mindset, isn't it? It's just kind of straight out there. Hard. Whereas we're kind of like, well, you know, if you kind of, you know, if you kind of feel like it, and if it's not too much trouble, and I feel so embarrassed, but if you like what we're doing, then please give us $1 or 78 pence through Patreon, kind of thing. If you don't mind, I'm sorry, kind of thing. I don't know. Strange.
It is a thing. It's a strange thing, but it's cool that it's there, and it's, you know. I love all my Patreon backers, all probably half a dozen of them, but yeah, but you know, it's something. I feel some worth. I'm getting paid a very small amount of money to do what I do.
Which is what you want. And it could be worse. I mean, you know.
It could be a lot worse. Yes.
And it's lovely. We're in a nice little place. There's lots of good games kind of going about. And
there's loads of games going about. Spiel happened. I didn't even know what came out. I didn't even know the hotness. I don't have no idea. I did a video today, and I was like, I have no idea.
I'm kind of like, if people are listening to this for kind of news about S, that's why I don't do an Essen special. You know,
I didn't even bother this year. I've done it previous years.
Do you know what's really funny? I was driving through a village in Fife. And Fife is where people I am from Fife. And people still look up at the moon in Fife and go, oh, that. And they're going to go, oh, look, Grandma, you better lock her up. She's going to be going hairy again. And you know, that kind of thing. And I was driving through, and something made me kind of double take, because there was quite literally a restaurant called Essen. I was going to stop and take my picture and went, I made it to Essen. I made it to Essen after all, folks. Look at me. So I'm tempted to do that. Now I've ruined the joke.
We'll just edit that out.
I'll bring it back next year. It's still a year. Folk will forget by that. It's fine. It's all good. I'm conscious of the time. I'm always conscious of the time. Yeah. I don't know how we kind of started off, and then we've just gone everywhere.
We've rambled everywhere, and there's no discernible content of quality here.
It doesn't matter.
No, it doesn't matter.
Do you know what was weird today? I'll tell you. I'll just confess something, okay? Because every now and again I go to the podcast stats just because. Normally, I mean, to be perfectly honest, we usually get it's usually about 11 to 1,200 downloads a week.
Yep.
Okay, and that is a
nice, respectable number.
It's across, obviously, the 27,000 million shows that we've done. So,
that helps.
you know, but today, I don't know if all of a sudden somebody's mentioned us somewhere, but yesterday I got 1,800 downloads. Yeah.
What was it about?
I have no idea. I have no idea. No idea at all. I don't know. I'm sure something horrible is about to happen to me, but it doesn't matter.
Well, yeah, when the show goes on.
Exactly. If people want to keep an eye on you on the internet webs, where can we keep an eye on you on the internet webs?
Well, you can go to whodaresrolls.com, which is the main site. It's got lots of written content, and I do pop the YouTube videos on there. Everything kind of isn't the hub for everything that comes out, but there is also a Who Dares Rolls YouTube channel, and we're on Twitter as Who Dares Rolls. Basically, Who Dares Rolls on social media stuff is the best bit, except for Instagram, which I keep getting hacked on Instagram. But what's going on there? On Instagram, I found out earlier. I logged in and I was JJXX5276541 or something. Bloody Chinese keep hacking me.
That's just amazing. I love it. And we'll make sure that we put all that in the show notes, plus your password as well.
Absolutely.
So people can kind of dive in themselves. If you want to keep an eye on what we're up to, go to the internet webs and search for We're Not Wizards and you shall find us. If you want to read what we thought of Chronicles of Crime, go to the blog, which is we'renotwizards.blogspot.com. I'm not going to tell you what we thought. It's a mystery. It's a crime to be solved. The other thing you can do is tell other people about who we are and what we do. I don't know if somebody has done that, which is why we've got all these downloads. It's just perplexing me.
It's Maddox.
Maddox. And the other thing that you can do is you can go to the Apple podcasts or other podcast catchers of choice, which use the word pod or the word cast, or they use neither, and drop us a subscription, a rating, or a review. If you are going to be dropping us a rating or a review, don't give us 10 stars because it makes us big-headed, but don't give us 1 star because it maketh us cry. Give us something in the middle, like a 5. Because we're average. And I'm just a little bit average. But the person who's not been average tonight is a rather wonderful, rather fantastic, delicious beard in a dream. It's Mr. Mike Barnes.
I think it's been a pleasure as always.
I don't know what we're going to make out of this. It'll be probably one of those flappy duck things.
Yeah. Well, it's something. That's for certain.
And there's only 2 more things to do. The first thing is to remember there were many things. But we're not wizards. Are we wizards?
We're not.
The other thing is it's goodbyes. It's a goodbye from Mike. Say goodbye, Mike.
Goodbye, Mike.
It's a goodbye from me. Remember, stay safe, roll sixes, and make something awful. But until the next time, go out and spread the word about these content creators and tell people that you like them so they don't go and bugger off and do something else and go back to doing things like making flans. But until then...
Even Luke Hector, even him.
Give him he gives good hugs. Until the next time.
He does.
Goodbye.
Ta-ta.
A wizard is never late. Nor is he early. He arrives precisely when he means to.